Kiahemi bedroom, let's say. My bedroom, I mean, the room beside my bedroom. We had all things made, kind of, we was supposed to offer or do a security plan. We raise our security plan considering the use of one, value as budget and crime operated by law since the advices until the consolidation. Now the charge, the model as operational research allowed us to, detect patterns, and indeed we could observe that the evasive behavior goes in all operations that we have, since on your individual operation and with simple things that you sometimes pays a full price and receive minus that you should receive, or in the other side you sometimes pay a minor price and receive things, you know by simulation of operation with a discount policy like e-commerce. All websites do this. Then we'll check that this kind of things approach things by this element, which is a failure, and the evasive behavior. The evasive behavior in a logical error in perception or sense will be a logical gap, because you can report this that you are committing a fraud or a crime. We had our model, which was the tutor business as the KRM Bulls extended thing, but with a constant 1% of the amount totally codified as the regular, you know, type of agents made by the interest and have the intellectual asset flowing by free will, by goodwill, and paying all costs that must have, since the activity had properly paid, and was not all activity, because we did a lot of things, most all things by free will, by goodwill, and the compensation is a payment pure. It's a compensation. Then we could observe that the division on two sides indeed put two sides equally divided, and the divisory, I would say, list can set devices in order to do not have the division as operative pattern regular that go all the time. And this in general is like a marriage. If you are filthy rich and have a dozen marriages, you will be poor, and this become a business, because we'll take all things, and it's something that we must observe, especially in cases of death, modifier registry and records, and this kind of idiot speech about sexism, like this. We will make a movement today considering the astrophysics model that we had, which was presented as my function, and this function has the density as the functional movement, which implies a functionality. And my argument, I will consider that can be something that go from one point on space to the other in time and space. It's the idea as monetary evaluation that we have when we are having the fees as complex fees. I would say the relation on space is like this, equally in the same way, but considering the valuation of money. In general, we will have the perception considering the first period going like this, and the second period going like this. And this kind of financial phenomenon sometimes allow us to set the liquidity trap. Then we'll check that the liquid money as market is the capacity to cover things by the money available, but if it's not a pure money with the regular stamp and production as a central bank, it's a fake money, and it's not something real for business, for activity, because you can have records. We will check that the density goes since from something that exists, which is the sense, until something that do not exist, the capacity of cover things. It's the sense of exist as, one marriage, or the limits as frontier or possibility to do things by the money or money you have. If you go beyond, you have no money to do, then you will be forced to pick money at the bank, or go in a scam that sometimes is a racketeer scam, and you will be a slave for the rest of your life, then you are in a big problem. Then this is the idea as liquidity money curve. See, it's a reversal curve, but we will not change the history. We will keep things as we have all the time. Then we will have a function of the institute, considering the investment saving curve, which is the real side of the economy. For instance, I'm not talking with Brazil since always, because Brazil do not need another prize or something like this. They have carnival all year. So we will check that it's the same idea as behavior, but we will consider that the items and services that you can offer by the production as free will, and free will applied by freedom, which is a bless, indeed will bring ourselves to something that do not exist. And these things that do not exist, sometimes you have, a light on your mind, especially when you have a brainstorm, and then we will check that this thing will become a reality, like this security plan. You didn't believe, despite all advices. You insisted. The reality is that you are paying the security of your all. So in some ways like this. Then this is our investment saving tool. Right? Right. The relation between items and money can be made by one thing, named, supply and demand in general, basic rule of the market, but we have something that is mostly created on America by the professor Philip Kotler, which is the market. Marketers are there to segment the market, and the exchange between the need and the demand quantified by price. Sometimes you will have, made by a delivery, something like this, like the information that you need to solve a case or an international case as security. We are doing marketing. You segment things, and offer or have this approach, like that small devil angel that hit the young people with to they become Valentines, and sometimes have a divine family or something like this. Then we will check, especially when they share equal interests and purpose, to share life, enjoy, have a good time, party all the time, and be no more sober forever and ever. Then we check that this idea bring ourselves to exchange of things at the same side of economy. If we are talking about liquid money curve, we are talking about exchanged markets. Exchanged markets. I will put as X M. It's the deadline of liquidity money curve. Then we'll check that if we're talking about items and sets, we're talking about basically trades. Trade. You know, simple to get. Then we'll understand that these two things had as quantification. We have a department strong on IBM about quantum research. We can use instruments available there by the communication with the security AT&T, an integrated thing as financial system, bank system, and economic evaluation by the UNICEF, and have all information with open data from banks with the security level as Federal Bureau of Investigation, some special officers at the Interpol, and the CIA, the NATO, things like this. We'll check that the quantification by pricing has a difference. Pricing, it's not the same thing as price. Pricing is the resulting. Price is the result. The effort you do to set the price can't be, something huge, or the price is a loss, indeed a cost. Then you need the market price. The price, which will be something associated with all this workflow as existentialism as you can have, price will suffer the, I would say, interference of some elements that sometimes you can't avoid. The first one, the tax. The second one, the inflation. And the two both impact the price, and then we'll have a regression. Set or make your pricing exhaustive. And of course that is something very exhaustive. Set the price of something, it's an effort. And this effort must be paid. But this shouldn't be like this in our operations. And this kind of things break the balance as exchanged market, impacting the liquidity money as capacity to do the coverage of things. And you are here in the area as do not exist money to cover compromises assumed. We must understand which was the moment at this workflow when you had a gap as -1. You will track all this gap as -1 on your liquidity money curve, and you will obtain the information about the replacement and laundry scams that will point to the discount police. The discount police indeed is an argument that allows to have the payment of effort to set the price, considering the gains by the quantification as minor operation, as the minor value of the operation, because you would like to pay less taxes, and the effect of this lower price of things is that the inflation will be lower in the same way. But the approach between the government and the cooperative area by promiscuous relationship indeed will have you with more interest as taxation, and players that don't get the rational logic of the market or have gains by clandestine association will be forced to reduce the discount police. And the discount policy in general is associated with laundering scams. It means that the interest and purpose as laundering scam, which is something that in general goes only at the market and must be like this, because if it goes at the public area will commit a crime and do the register about the crimes committed. As you can observe, we are handmade the market, I would say, with tax by association with government, which implies the result after the tax evasion by overpriced contract, operation third win under another review. And the discount policy wouldn't have the continued as a pure thing. It means that you must separate these because it has problems. In general, has problems, but not problem as so big as the government. Then we will check that the players, and it's a large number, will be forced to do not apply the discount policy. And then we will have the inflation. And the immigration as, the complementary relation at the price, which indeed is something simple, to an area that has this kind of income at the design of the market will break the balance at the market. I will, have this question. I think that will, because if the liquidity money curve is the same thing as investment saving curve, and we are having a problem from the exchange market involving all central banks, which is part of the all government, and this goes inside the pandemic even, of course that our productive system has a huge gap. And then we will check that the relation between the price in general will have the money as UK, which is gold, and it's limited. You can't fake that money. It's bigger than the euro as value, despite to have a minor number of possibilities to operate. And then we have the US dollars. That is something, that you light your cigar with dollars. You never will do this with the money on UK. This relation indeed is the value, the price of things that put as trillion, billion, and million. Million with a factorial behavior. And then we can work here by the complementarity, considering two types of evaluation that you are doing regression. We will have the money on UK, we will have the euro, and we will have the dollars, as things go on present time. And the reversal side, I will put only letters like this. If you'd like to have, you are coming from the existence to something that do not exist. Here we will have the reversal model, I would say. I will come from something that do not exist, which is the dollar, to the euro, and then I will have the money on UK. This relation, indeed, will be the same relation as you can observe on the exponential behavior as fees and the linear behavior as fees on time and space. But instead of have the evaluation as money considering the index that we have, and goes like this, a behavior, and you will have a big money, and it's only our money by our own rate, considering the exchange market by two drivers as monetary resources. We will consider that we can have the operation from the UK money to a big quantity of US dollars that will imply a huge number of operations, factorial. But if you can cover all operations, indeed the operators will charge you, because especially when they had the effort. This is the first thing that you must have in mind. And then we'll bring syndicates and all problems like this, because it will be got as exploitation, and we will avoid this. How? Using the frontiers of possibilities, considering that we have the one specific money that can get combined with anyone else, and we will have the reference on it, which is a space. This space we will kind of have the agents, and in general the agents respondem ao seu certo, vocês vão %. And then we have here the operator. Here at the free zone as commerce, we will have someone linked with the capacity as coverage. I would say that will be the money number one. And of course that when you do this, the driver will bring everybody with, and we will have a lot of operations. But maybe some is the same idea as cryptocurrencies that kind of have no capacity to be solid in the way you need, or the credit spread. You will check that the money attached, I would say, with the monetary value, and in UK you kind of will have your rate in the same way the bank do, but considering the entire conjuncture. And we will cover the operation as attraction that will operate on it. But to operate on it, as you can observe, we are having this area here, which is the area of control. It's our firewall. I will put here with a color. I would say it's this area here is like a firewall. I will put the firewall considering different sides. And in the operation as itself, which is the pricing, one type of operation, we will have the operation positive one with capacity as coverage positive one. And we will have the agents in two moments, as you can observe. The agents to be an operator as investment saving curve, and the agents to be an operator as liquidity money curve that will be attached with the monetary value on UK. And we are working with our Western liberalism. Amazing, isn't it? I know. So we will finish here. The GSS Euro report is closed April 2022. 2021 was about the procedure that important will be made, and sometimes people will have no consequence against the misbehavior that had the systematical and incremental evaluation at specific chairs against the law, violating basic rights, guarantees. It's like this. Have a nice day, weekend.